Well, let's look at it in Matthew 26 and let's see exactly how many people they went to get. Verse 60 is where we at. In verse 60 it said they went and got many false witnesses. Many. So we don't have a number per se. But at the end of it in verse 60 it said there came last 2 false witnesses. So they went and got all these false witnesses because none of these witnesses agreed. The difference when you look at with Jezebel and Ahab is these 2 men witnesses agreed. See, the difference when you sit back and you look at our laws, they didn't do cross-examination or things of gathering evidence and witnesses and all this type of stuff like you see in our trials. They took it that if you brought proclamation against a man that you were just. Let's look at Deuteronomy 19 again. He had it set up that if you brought an accusation of death against a man, that you were doing it in a just fashion and that you would not lie on anyone. But he did put a provision in the law for this as well. And this same thing had to come on Ahab's head and Jezebel. They had to catch the same thing. Deuteronomy 19, stop. And 15, sit. Thank you. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin, and any sin that he sinned. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before Yahuwah, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition, and behold, if the witness be a false witness, and have testified falsely against his brother, then they shall do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. And thy eye shall not pity, but life shall go. But life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. You know, a lot of brothers like to talk about that, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But then they don't sit back and realize that that's dealing in a fashion where someone was dealing unjustly with another individual. And then since that's what you sought to do to somebody else, that had to be rendered unto you. Not just, oh, you stole from me, so I'm going to steal from you. You hit me and I'm going to hit you. That's not what that precept is about. That command, that ordinance is about if you sought to do this. The difference in the situation with Ahab was, he was the king, he was the judge. There was nobody to stop that. He was the one who would have to make that determination. He already knew this is sour. He didn't care because all he cared about is what he could attain, and he attained it falsely. Now, when we look at Proverbs chapter 6 with the 6 things that Yah hate, even 7 things that are abominations, what are some of those things that Jezebel and Ahab violated in their work with against Naboth the Jezreelite? Hello, Devin. Did anybody know those things? You got sowing discord among brethren, you got telling lies, you got bearing false witness, you got feet swift to run into mischief, you got devising wicked imaginations, you got a proud look, and I think I said a lying tongue. I might have missed one. Out of all those 7 things, what is it that they did? Which ones did they do? I would surmise that they did all of them. Let me read it specifically to make sure I ain't leaving that out. We look at Proverbs 6 and 16, and this is what they did. It says, a proud look, which clearly we have that. We have a lying tongue, which clearly they did on that because they lied on this man. They shed innocent blood. That's the one that we forgot because Naboth surely was innocent. Their heart devised this wicked imagination. Their feet were quick to go do it. And they had false witnesses. And of course, there's so discord among the brethren because the people were content to take this man out because the elders said, let him be stoned. And of course, we know all these things happen to the master. And this is why we end up having... This is why when we get to it, this is why when Jehoshaphat comes up with Ahab, sit down. Stop it. Stop it now. It is over. Sit down and be still. Elizabeth, sit down. It's not going to cover both. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. So you're just going to have to sit. Sit. Sit in your chair. Appreciate your cooperation. Let's look at Matthew chapter 21. Seizing upon someone's inheritance is a very wicked thing to do. And as we'll see in the law, it will get you cut off. It will get you cut off. That's why once Ahab then pulled this stunt, they were done. Ahab already had been judged in the previous chapter, but this definitely solidified and stamped it. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. 21 and 41. Actually, 21 and 33. Another parable, there was a certain householder which planted a vineyard and hedged it round about and digged a wine press in it and built a tower and let it out to husbandmen and went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husband that they might receive the fruits of it. The husbandman took his servants and beat one, killed another, and stoned another. He sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. But last of all he sent unto his son, saying, They will reverence my son. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, This is the heir, come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance. Now our law says, do not take another man's inheritance. Now, why is that important, and why you had to guard yourself? Come over here to John chapter 10, probably about verse 10, and then 1 Peter chapter 5. Because you got somebody out here who trying to seize you from your inheritance, and he got people who work for him. You know what I'm saying? Who are sons of Belial, just like those two men who bear false witness on the bar. And y'all willing on the Shabbat. I don't have time for this. This is not playtime. Put the blanket down. No one will play with it. Sit there and be still. And it also take into a part of which we did not complete in 1 Kings chapter 18. Because Naboth man meaning fruit. There's a man who bears fruit. They tried to take his vineyard from him. It's the same thing what they did to the master, because Jerusalem is the fruit. And they wanted to take that, was the vineyard, and they wanted to take that from him so it wouldn't be able to bear any fruit. And there's a reason for that. And that goes back into how the wicked will seek to stop the righteous from bearing any fruit. Nevertheless, we'll deal with that, y'all willing, in this time. John chapter 10, verse 10. Yeah, I ain't with it. I'll be done in a few minutes, and then y'all can do whatever it is that you want to do. But at this moment in time, you will sit here and be still, and you will enjoy it. 10 and 7. Are you picking a booger? Yes, you are picking a booger. Then said Yahushua unto them again, Truly, truly, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief come not but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it, and more abundantly. This is all Jezebel and Ahab were coming to do, was to steal and to kill and to destroy. To steal this man's vineyard, to destroy his name, and to kill him. And they were able to execute that because they were all children of Belial. They were all children of that thief and of that adversary. And you have to pay attention to people who come around you that all they want to do is steal, to kill, and to destroy. Because these are clearly children of the adversary. You know what I'm saying? Children of you who are not going to try to come to steal, kill, and destroy anything from you. That's why the master said he didn't come to do that. That's what the thief came to do. 1 Peter chapter 5. That's why you got to be on guard and be aware. See, Naboth was not aware of the wickedness that was in Ahab's heart, because he felt like Ahab probably would do what he was supposed to do according to the word, not considering that this man is an idolater. And this goes back to what idolatry leads to: lawlessness. Idolatry will not stop you from doing anything. Nothing is restrained from your heart because you don't have a God that stands for anything. Your God stands for whatever you make it stand for, because you created it with your own hands. First Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. Nevertheless, Naboth did stand fast in the faith and resist Ahab when he would not sell him his inheritance. Also, you could take back looking at how Naboth say, I'll give you a vineyard for money, or the better vineyard, is when the adversary tempted the master. And he offered him these things for his inheritance, and he rejected them. And therefore, later on down the line, they did what the adversary got in Judas's heart, and then Judas did what he did to fulfill the story of Naboth in a different fashion. Because Ahab is representative of the adversary and tempting this man to sell his inheritance or sell his birthright. The same way that Esau was willing to sell his birthright for a pot of clay, for a pot of lentil soup, for beans. Naboth didn't think about it with his belly. He thought about it with his ruach and said, Elohim forbid I sell my inheritance. The same thing that Yahushua told Satan. Yah forbid I sell my inheritance. I'm not doing that. I don't care. He offered him the kingdoms. Said, no, I'm straight, man. He showed him money. I'm straight. I'll keep my inheritance. And you have to realize that and know that yourself. You got to be willing to keep your inheritance, because people will come to you to get you to sell your inheritance. Whether it be through penis or vagina, whether it be with money, whether it be with job, whether it be with houses, whatever. People coming at you day in and day out for you to sell them your inheritance. Because once you sell it, you can't get it back. Esau sold his inheritance. He could not get it back. Ain't no getting it back once you sell it. Don't sell your inheritance, man. Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short. That's why I said what I said earlier. Temporary pleasure. Temporary feeling versus an eternal weight. See, Naboth considered that. Yahushua considered that. We need to consider it. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walk about seeking whom he may devour, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. But the Elohim of all favor, who have called us unto his eternal esteem by Yahushua HaMashiach, after you have suffered for a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. To him be esteem and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Keep that in mind. This man is walking around seeking whom he may devour, or who he may overtake to seize your inheritance from you. Naboth resisted him steadfast in the faith, and he lost his life to keep his inheritance. Hamashiach lost his life to keep his inheritance. He said, we got to go through much tribulation to enter into the kingdom of Shamahim. You may have to lose your life to keep your inheritance. And you got to be willing to do that. And just know that the thief is coming to steal, kill, and destroy, to take your inheritance from you. But know this here, Revelation 14 and 13. Just know this here, though. We'll read 14 and 12. Here is the patience of the Kadeshim. Here are they that keep the commandments of Elohim in the faith of Yahushua. And I heard a voice from Shamahim saying unto me, right, Baruch are the dead which die in Yahuwah from henceforth. Yea, saith the Ruach, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. That's why you got to be willing to resist. Your works will follow you. Come on back to 1 Kings 21. Guess what? You best believe Naboth's works going to follow him. Don't worry about 2 Kings 9. I'll pick that up, y'all willing on Shabbat. That's really a judgment thing versus what happened to Naboth. That's some judgment that happens to these people later on down the line. Let's look at verse 14. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, arise and take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money, for Naboth is not alive but dead. And if you know the law, that land was supposed to go to his next of kin, not to Ahab. Because we read that in Numbers 36 to a certain extent. When you died, that's supposed to go to your sons. If you don't have any sons, it's supposed to go to your daughters. And if you don't have any daughters, it's supposed to go to your next highest relative, not to the king. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. And the word of Yahuwah came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, arise and go down to meet Ahab the king of Yasharal, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, thus saith Yahuwah, hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, thus saith Yahuwah, in the place where the dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall the dogs lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, hast thou found me, O my enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to do evil in the sight of Yahuwah. Look how Ahab called Elijah his enemy. Why? Because there's enmity between the serpent seed and the woman's seed. Ahab recognized this righteous man to be his enemy. I don't know why. Basically, Ahab said, man, we beefing. You see, Elijah didn't even respond to that. Elijah told him, no, nigga, you sold yourself to do evil in this man's eyesight. He said, behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pissed against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Yasharal. And I will make thy house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahiah, for the provocation whereof thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Yasharal to sin. And of Jezebel also spake Yahuwah, saying, the dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Him that die of Ahab in the city, the dog shall eat, and him that die in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to do wickedness in the sight of Yahuwah, who Jezebel his wife stirred up. So he laid this right at Ahab's feet, because it wasn't really Jezebel, it was Ahab. He knew full well what she was going to do and how she was going to do it, and he was going to ride with it. Wicked bastard. And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all things, as did the Amorites, whom Yahuwah had cast out before the children of Yasharal. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard these words, that he rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted and lay in the sackcloth, and went softly. And the word of Yahuwah came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, see thou how Ahab humbled himself before me? Because he humbled himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house. That's what I was telling y'all about the other day. He didn't say that he wasn't going to kill him or kill all his sons. He just told him, I just won't let you see it. That sin was not purged. That sin was not put away. That sin was not overlooked. I want you to look at Deuteronomy 27 and 17. Then I'm going to let y'all slide. And then y'all willing, we'll round up all this stuff. After Deuteronomy 27 and 17, we'll look at Matthew chapter 25. Now we'll stop. See, there's a thing that happened because that Ahab did this. Ahab is scarred. Let's see what the law says. I'm just saying based off the law, not my personal opinion. 27, make it 27:15. 27:15, because 27:15 is good. I just don't want to keep y'all long. Pray the Lamb, we ain't paying for the calls no more. So it doesn't really matter anymore. As far as time is concerned. I want you to sit back and look at something. Look what he tell you. Cursed be the man that make any graven or molten image or an abomination unto Yahuwah, the work of the hands of the craftsman, and put it in a secret place, and all the people shall answer and say, Amen. Now guess what? We know Ahab did that. But also I want y'all to keep that in mind when we look at that secret place about you making an idol. That word for secret is satar, and that's a covering or secrecy of tongue, being slanderous, or shelter or protection, or a hiding place, or disguising. Because a lot of us like to disguise our idolatry. You don't want nobody to really know you're an idol worshiper. An idol will know. One of the key components of knowing somebody an idol worshiper is lawlessness. Niggas do what they want to do, live how they want to live. They Elohims, they mind earthly things. They are an idol worshiper. Don't think because you put the name of Yah on two golden calves that make your idolatry acceptable, because it don't. It say, cursed be he that set light by his father and his mother, and all the people shall say Amen. Now that light meaning to disgrace or dishonor. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't care how wicked your mama was. I wouldn't care how wicked your daddy was. You got to give them a respect for the law's sake, for Yahuwah's sake. If you don't want to respect your parents for their sake because they your parents, then respect them because your father and Shamahim says to respect them. But last and certainly not least, cursed be he that remove his neighbor's landmark, and all the people shall say Amen. Ahab was cursed for taking this man's inheritance. Satan tried to take Yahusha's inheritance. He ended up being cursed. Like I said, we'll look into this more in depth, y'all willing, on the Shabbat. People who come at you trying to take your inheritance from you as forth as a means to try to entice you to sin, entice you over as agents of the adversary, they are cursed. Every time we sit back and we turn around and commit sin, we standing there as those people said, let his blood be on our children's children, and crucify him. He's not the Malach of Yasharal, and we're guilty of his blood, and we're guilty of trying to take his inheritance from him. Because remember what the scribe said, if we leave him alone, they'll take away our place in nation. We cannot allow this man to get his inheritance. This is why we read Matthew 21. We must seize on his inheritance and kill him. Every time we commit transgression, we place this man upon a stake and kill him, trying to seek to seize his inheritance. Because we want the power and authority that he has, and we go about it trying to get it from the wicked one. Matthew chapter 25. Well, good grief, nigga, how many emails you gonna send for the same thing? Matthew 25 and 41. Hold on, that's the wrong verse. No, it's not. I'm tripping. Matthew 25 and 41. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his malachim. And you turn around and you try to remove your brother's landmark or remove your brother's inheritance, that will have you cursed. Which is why you see why Ahab was cursed. And not only did it not just get Ahab cursed, it got his whole line knocked off. Because you know he punished from the third and the fourth generation. But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We will stop right here for the moment.